It's a funny old game, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that the transfer window is ruddy mental. Welcome back to Chelsea News, of course, the daily series every single day here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said about Chelsea, and it's a lot. Giving you my opinion on it. More important than asking for yours. Update on Raphinha, of course, reporting on him a couple of times recently. Chelsea have agreed a transfer fee with Leeds to sign the forward. He's generally liking the idea of coming to Chelsea. Seemingly his preference is Barcelona, but you've got people saying, like Ben Jacobs saying it's 95% he's coming to Chelsea. It's funny, isn't it? We laughed at Arsenal about him pulling out of that deal late or the deal not happening, and then we were memeing about ourselves how he could possibly go to Barcelona. We're going to reflect on all of this. We're going to talk about some other news. We're going to talk about Neymar because apparently PSG want to loan him out, and Thiago Silva is saying things like he has to come to Chelsea, and we'll talk about some other stuff as well. Lots and lots to get through, so do see that you're comfortable. Strap yourselves in. Thank you for dropping a like on the video. All these interactions help out content creators like me. And thank you for subscribing if you've chosen to do so, and if you have, make sure the bell is clicked so you get notified when I upload. Let's start off with Matt Law's article on The Telegraph, giving you a quick update on the situation with Raphinha. I will link this down in the description. Also, a perfect time to remind you that I'm doing daily vlogs on my second channel, Football Yannick. Simply search Football Yannick on YouTube and to see that other content. You might dig it. Chelsea aim to complete Raphinha deal despite Barcelona hijack threat. Let's see. Chelsea are still aiming to complete the signing of Raphinha, despite the threat of a Barcelona attempting to hijack the deal if the Spanish club can rush through a cash injection. Having agreed a fee of £55 million, plus add-ons, with Leeds United for the Brazilian, Chelsea have broadly agreed personal terms with the offer of a 5-year contract worth in the region of £115,000 a week. Pause. Very, very reasonable. Why do we give Raphinha only 115k a week, but you give Timo Werner 250? Like, literally more than twice as much. Heck, Raphinha won't even be on what Callum Hudson-Odoi is on. And, you know, Tottenham, Arsenal and Barcelona are fighting for him. Look, man, I'm totally cool with this. If he wants to accept these wages, great. Don't, rinse the club. But it's funny how, I don't know if it's an English bias or there is just a recognition of how much English players are worth, in assets. Come to us, Raphinha. I know Barcelona want us. Come to us. You'll get paid 35 grand a week less than Ruben Loftus-Cheek, though. And that's Hudson-Odoi. I don't understand it. Still, whatever. If you don't have to overpay, great. No problems are expected on that front, and Chelsea's new owners remain hopeful that they have done enough to clinch the transfer, despite Raphinha's agent holding 11th hour talks with Barcelona. Deco, you traitor! Deco, the former midfielder who represents Raphinha, was spotted at Barcelona's offices on Wednesday, where it's believed he was making a final check to see if the Spaniards could somehow match Chelsea's offer. Barcelona have been working hard on a deal to raise over 200 million euros by selling off a percentage of the club's media rights, which would allow them to trade again this summer. Oh, Barca. Of course, as well, they want to sell Frankie de Jong, make about 60-70 mil, flogging him to United. A move for Robert Lewandowski has been held up while Barca try and raise cash, and the club are yet to register free agents Frank Kessie and, of course, Andreas Christensen, where have I heard that name, or offer a new contract to Ousmane Dembele. They have offered terms to Ousmane, just not much money. I think they've offered him like half of what he wants. A bid to hijack Chelsea over Raphinha, who had hoped to move to the new camp, also rests on a cash injection being secured quickly, while Chelsea must hope they have already done enough to seal off their particular threat. Look, man, this is one thing that people are talking about online. Raphinha wants to go to Barcelona. Now, regardless if we get him or not, that's annoying. And, a lot of Chelsea fans, it is what it is, man. This is football. This is real life. A player coming to your club, they don't always dream of playing for your club. He wants to go to Barcelona. I get why people are saying, we only want players that want to be here. Look what happened with Lukaku, etc., etc. Look, professional footballers want to play well for themselves before anything, so it shouldn't matter. Excuse me, I've got a bit of hay fever. It's understood that his potential options in England, out of his potential options, he would prioritise a move to Chelsea. Gutted Arsenal, but that's the way it is. The plan remains for Raphinha to form a new attack with Raheem Sterling, that's worth £105 million, who Chelsea are in talks to sign, while the club are also making moves to strengthen their defence. Alongside their talks for Sterling, Chelsea have discussed Nathan Ake with Man City, and he remains the most likely candidate to succeed Antonio Rudiger on the left-hand side of Thomas Tuchel's defence. Interesting. We know Tuchel really does like Nathan Ake. It might not be exciting for you, man, but this is where we are at. Chelsea are also holding simultaneous talks for a number of other defenders, including Sevilla's Jules Koundé. Sorry, it's just a reaction I get every time I hear about that transfer now. And Juventus star Matthias de Ligt. Should Chelsea sign Ake and Koundé, who could also provide cover in both fullback positions. That's true. Nathan Ake could play left centre-back, left wing-back. Jules Koundé could play right centre-back, right wing-back. Hashtag versatility. Positional versatility. That's what big Tommy Tuchel likes, ladies and gentlemen. They could sign a third central defender as well as that pair. Their move for Ake has raised doubts over the future of talented youngster Levi Colwill, who has attracted interest from Southampton and Leicester City. Pause. I imagine many of you out there, ladies and gentlemen, would be disappointed if we sold Levi Colwill, because, look, man, I get Lamptey, Livramento, Tomori, even Gurhi to a degree, all came with their own stories of why they had to go. Levi Colwill is very, very good. He's a left footer. He's a teenager still, but he looks so... If we let him go as well, I'll start to feel pretty negative about the whole situation. Just let Thomas Tuchel look at him in pre-season. I know he wants to play, and he wants to just play every game now, but if he could be in and around the first team at Chelsea, 5 subs, remember, lots of opportunity. We play loads of competitions. We'll go play much more games in Southampton. If he plays better, he'll get a starting spot. That'll be very frustrating to see him go. Look, we're going to talk about some other stuff. We're going to look at Cy Phillips' Twitter feed because it's very helpful for sport aggregation news. I do want to talk about Neymar loan, and quickly paused as well. It's worth noting because it's pretty funny. Nizar Kinsella, the Chelsea correspondent for Goal.com, told a funny story about Lukaku. Now, he emphasizes this is a story he's been told. He wasn't in the room, which is an important thing to note, but it's gone sort of semi-viral. Essentially, it's a story, it's quite funny, so I want to echo it here in the channel. Lukaku was with Thomas Tuchel watching a Premier League game together, and Tottenham Hotspur were playing, and Antonio Conte was, on the coverage, went on the screen. Thomas Tuchel sort of pointed to Lukaku and, look, there's your daddy. And it was a joke, obviously. Tuchel's a bit of a funny guy. But it didn't go down well, apparently, which makes it even funnier because Lukaku probably would have been like, bro. You know what I mean? I think it's probably a joke that just didn't land, and it's very funny, and it's demonstrating how Tuchel's funny and Lukaku's a bit soft. But also, it's probably not the best thing to say to a striker you're trying to sort out. But maybe there's a little bit of lost in translation there. Maybe I'm giving him a massive benefit of the doubt here. Maybe it is a playful joke, but maybe it's not like your daddy, like you're like, I don't know, like the teacher's pet. I think it might be like a sort of, oh look, your ex-manager, like your ex-boss, he was your daddy, wasn't he? I don't know, maybe it was a little bit more light-hearted than we think it is. Funny regardless. Let's move on. I'm actually going to reference an article from TalkSport here, because just for a bit of fun, that came out today. Chelsea linked Neymar, played under Thomas Tuchel at PSG. They reached the Champions League final, and his stats in that time were impressive. Neymar is one of the world's most football recognisable stars and could be prepared to part ways for PSG this summer. Reports suggested that the £200 million signing is not wanted by French champions, and the new era of Kylian Mbappe, the star man, and Chelsea, and Chelsea's been linked according to links in Spain. For the 30-year-old, it could be a case of looking to past successes in order to reignite his career. Neymar worked under Chelsea boss Thomas Tuchel in his time in Paris, and they reached the Champions League final. Taking over in 2018, they worked well together, and he showed his best form under Thomas Tuchel. Things stalled for Neymar at the Parc des Princes, with Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappe regarded as the club's talismans. He went there to be top boy. He's ended up third top boy. That's not what he want. But in charge of 18 months under Thomas Tuchel, Neymar played 67 matches, scoring 51 goals and making 32 assists. So that is 83 goal involvements in 67 matches. Yes, it's in a Farmers League in Ligue 1, but ladies and gentlemen, that is quite frankly silly statistics. While some managers have struggled to integrate Neymar into their tactical system, Tuchel revealed a conversation he held with the Brazilian and what he really makes him as a person. Speaking to The Guardian in 2019, Tuchel said, Neymar has a good heart. Sometimes it's a bit hard to see that he's a nice person when you only watch him play from the outside, but he is. He's a nice guy. I told him, you think the hardest part is over, but from now on you have to deal with me. I'm going to push you hard, so the hardest is still to come for you. And Chelsea defender Thiago Silva would like to be reunited with Neymar, saying he has to go to Chelsea. Thiago Silva said to reporters in Brazil, if it happens, it will be for the best. He needs no comments. He's and on top of that, he's a super friend. So far, I don't know anything, but I hope it comes to fruition. Look, man, this is not a non-story. I'm reflecting on statistics and what Thiago Silva said, of course. There are stories circulating around the media at the moment that Neymar, he's triggered a new extension in his contract, or a contract extension has been triggered that sees him go to 2027 at PSG. He's 30 years old. That will end when he's 35 years old. He's on like 600k a week. That is, no matter how much you feel invulnerable and you can't be hurt by financial fair play, that is a horrendous dagger. Now, I'm not saying Chelsea should spend tens of millions on him and absolve those wages, but there are stories circulating and rotating that a loan could be done where, in fact, PSG pay some of his wages. I mean, if PSG are going to say, right, we'll pay half his wages and you just take him on loan for a while. I know that that's fanciful, but hey, I'd be okay with it. Anyway, let me know what you think about that. But Chelsea, of course, like I said, like we read in Matt Law's article, Chelsea's priorities as things stand are Raphinha, which looks like he'll come to Chelsea if he doesn't get his dream move to Barcelona, and of course Raheem Sterling, who interestingly does seem very keen on the Chelsea move. So I'm going to quickly read some aggregated sports news headlines from at Cy Phillips Sport on Twitter. So Raphinha will not make his decision until the negotiations between Barcelona and Leeds are over. Although his priority is Barcelona, Chelsea are leading the race. And that's Shea Lugassi from Barca Times saying that. Okay, so also Juventus CEO has been speaking on Matthijs de Ligt of Chelsea. He says, quote, it's impossible to keep players when they want to leave the club, but all three parties in the negotiations have to be satisfied. Basically, the update there on Matthijs de Ligt to Chelsea is saying, we want a lot of money. I think after we heard originally that the player swap deal might come to fruition, now it's a maybe that's more in the sense of Timo Werner was prepared, or maybe even Pulisic was prepared to go to Juventus. Juventus themselves as a club just want money. And he will cost a lot of money, Matthijs de Ligt. So that's probably what the CEO is saying, that we just want a lot of money. And if they give it to us, then they can have them. Okay, cool. So Matteo Moretto, or is it Matteo? Matt Moretto, at Matt Moretto. Being cited here by Cy Phillips saying Nathan Ake to Chelsea is getting closer. 40 million on the table, but assuming it's euros, which would make 34 million pounds. That kind of makes me think, okay, 34 million pounds isn't that bad for Nathan Ake. Fabrizio Romano writing, Thomas Tuchel's priorities for centre-back are Nathan Ake and Matthijs de Ligt. Dutch centre-halves are the way forward, apparently. Maybe as, Virgil van Dijk gets a little bit older. I think Ake's 27. Of course, Matthijs de Ligt is 22. Maybe Van Dijk starts to decline in the centre-back partnership for the Netherlands. Moving forward in time are the Chelsea centre-backs, de Ligt and Ake. Who knows? I know many of you aren't getting excited on Ake, but It's what the gaffer wants. Marzio has been reporting that Juventus are looking at Presnel Kimpembe to potentially replace Matthias de Ligt should de Ligt leave Juventus and go to Chelsea. Of course, the sense of irony not lost here because Chelsea are also interested in Presnel Kimpembe. Of course, PSG centre-half that played under Thomas Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel reportedly likes Kimpembe. We've spoken about links to him coming to Chelsea before here on the channel. I've sort of said I'd probably quite like him, although he's obviously older than de Ligt. But either or, really. They're both quite aggressive penalty box defenders in many ways. I'd take Kimpembe or Matthias de Ligt. I just want centre-halves. I want centre-halves. Finally, another update from Romano via court offside. Chelsea have no official response from Deco Raphinha. This is because Deco has met Barcelona, who have had an agreement on Raphina's personal terms since March. Chelsea will have contact with Deco today to try and understand the situation. So we're finally on Raphinha. This is where we're at. Chelsea have an agreement with Leeds for the transfer of Deco. Raphinha, but no personal terms have necessarily been agreed because even if there's been broadly agreed, you know, he has to say yes to sign. Whereas Barcelona are the opposite. He's like, yes, I want to join you. Yes, personal terms, but the clubs can't agree a price. Ultimately, there's like 30 million euro difference. Chelsea have bid so much more for Raphinha than Barcelona are prepared to do. Of course, Arsenal are up there with Chelsea in terms of their bid to the clubs. Leeds will just say no. They'll just say, look, we're going to sell to a Premier League club, Arsenal or Chelsea. They're the ones paying all the money. And if you asked Raphinha, he'd be like, well, I'm going to Chelsea, not Arsenal. So Chelsea remain in the strongest position. But that's it for today's video. Look, if more story stuff, news pops today, I will of course react to it. So keep it locked, guys. Make sure you have the bell turned on when you subscribe so you don't miss a beat. You want all noties turned on. Thank you for everyone who drops comments, likes and shares. Keep it locked, man. We are moving very, very fast. See you soon. Peace.